Sensitization. Can such unending sensitization not undermine the law or even kill it? Lawbreakers may even take advantage and act with impunity. We have examples that we're going to use today to show how we think that unending sensitization can either undermine or kill the law. Anti-corruption drive is a case in point. We also want to look at the National Commission for the Promotion of Bilingualism and Multiculturalism. And you have not forgotten that in the motorcycle sector in Cameroon today, insecurity is becoming a very, very big problem to solve in the country, because there has been a lot of sensitization, education, and less action. That will be the focus of our program today. Ladies and gentlemen, to talk about this, we have an official from the National Anti-Corruption Commission, William Titi Itwo, who has been on this program severally and who has performed well for his institution. We expect that today. Bill?
Yeah, good morning, Kilian. Good morning to viewers of Press R. It's always the delight of the National Anti-Corruption Commission to take part in programs that edify the public on the activities of CONAC and also on the responsibilities of every citizen, every Cameroonian, as far as the fight against corruption is concerned. So I think, like you said, I've been doing well, and CONAC is also doing well.
You are just asked back to the capital city. You were on another drive,
yes,
of sensitization campaign?
No, not really. That wasn't sensitization. That was rather repressive, because it. Let me say what it was. It was what we call an anti-corruption clinic, and it's the third of its kind, because the first was organized in 2021, and that was in Douala, and 2022, that was in Douala, and this year we had another clinic organized in Bertois in the month of July, and here we were in Bafoussam in July, and we were in Bertois this time around in
we
October,
are going to see
the third
yes.
anti-corruption clinic. So it's not sensitization. The anti-corruption clinic is a repressive move carried by CONAC, but then even when there is punitive action carried out,
yes, we're going to come to that. We'll give you time to explain all of that.
Okay.
And our worry,
yes,
is whether you are giving palliative treatment, whether you are not just treating. Are you catching the big fish? We'll give you time. That is exactly why you brought
you. Just trying to
yes.
that.
Now
okay.
We're going to move over to Barrister Fombat Nojem, who is a barrister law and solicitor. Barrister, it's been a while. You've not been on Press R, but we are happy that we have you today.
Yes. Thank you, Kilian. Good morning to our televiewers. Good morning to the co-panelists. I've been absent for quite some time, partially for health reasons, but now I'm here stronger than ever before, and ready to share knowledge as our own contribution towards making our community a better place to live in.
Thank you very much. And I know that when it comes to interpreting the laws, you are a non-nonsense person. We expect that today. Next to you, Ojong Stephen, who is a colleague. Ojong Stephen is the publisher of the Median newspaper. He also has a very critical mind, and we're happy, Steve, to have you on the set.
Yeah, I'm happy to be back. I've not been here for a while, for reasons I may not evoke here. But I want to assure our viewers that I remain an ardent participant of Press R.
Yes, our pleasure to have you. Whatever the reasons, please, when we call you, just come. I am going to introduce the official that is a member of the National Commission for the Promotion of Bilingualism and Multiculturalism, that you know so well is also becoming a problem in the country, because you have hate speech, you have use of language is not a core in terms of value, and we cannot overemphasize this because it's something, if that commission came up with, because it is a problem. We have John FSC Mbafo, who is a member of this commission. He's also someone who has been regular on this program, and we know you're going to tell us whether you are going more for sensitization or for action. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Killian, and good morning to my co-panelists and to all the televiewers who are watching us this Sunday morning. It's always a privilege to be back on set and be a guest at Press Hour.
Thank you very much. With that and a waste of time, we're going to take a press review. Yoti Kalele Songe has been on that beat, and she read the newspapers for us the week that just ended. Yoti.
Teachers are in the spotlight this week as the world celebrates their tireless efforts in training individuals, amongst whom journalists who pen tributes to the people who molded them into being who they are, at a time when some teachers in the nation are striking, as seen on the horizon, where it is revealed that the Operation Dead Chalk activists are unsatisfied even after a meeting with the education minister. The same print media zooms in on teachers in Bakassi confronting the regional delegation of education over 9 months of unpaid salary. Municipal Updates rather picks an interest in President Biya reorganizing the functioning of government teacher training colleges. This same week, academic activities resumed across the national territory, a resumption Cameroon Tribune is keen on following. Another issue impossible to miss in the week's publications are news stories on the armed conflict in the northwest and southwest regions. Municipal Updates goes into mourning as the paper breaks news on the execution of civilians in Guzang, calling it daylight occultism. To the Guardian Post, such cruelty is unimaginable, disclosing that both men were killed by Amber fighters for being blacklegs. The Median has authorities reacting to atrocities succumbed, promising bazooka for bazooka as they state their readiness for head-on with terrorists amid endless lockdowns. Ghost towns and lockdowns traditional rulers in Boya tell the Guardian Post they've declared a spiritual war against. The same print media organ goes further to indicate that the armed conflict in the northwest and southwest regions has gone from being a separatist ideology to armed robbery and scores settling. On the horizon, the population cries that separatists have resumed burnings. For their own safety, the SD of Mezam imposes an indefinite ban on undeclared gatherings, the papers recount, whilst the SD of Meme imposes a military escort for trucks carrying cocoa, this to stop tax collection by Amber, underscores the media. But the Guardian Post begs to differ after thorough investigation, compiling contrasting views of cocoa dealers and drivers. Events that push the Guardian Post to go down memory lane, streamlining the over 150 Ambazonia generals wasted so far, wondering if it shouldn't serve as a lesson to other generals and fighters to surrender and let go of the independence struggle. Newspapers are unanimous that the upsurge in the Anglophone crisis has U.S. senators advocating for the extended protection of Cameroonian asylum seekers. The insecurity situation in the nation is described as rising as print media organs intently divulge that 4 kidnappers have been arrested by the police in Yaoundé, an affair the Herald Tribune emphasizes is unbecoming, spilling statistics of over 2,000 criminal activities recorded in Yaoundé and Douala in the last 2 months. The readership had details as well on plans for ID cards to be issued within 48 hours. Likewise, the military cooperation between Cameroon and Chad against cross-border insecurity, plus daily updates on the Chantal Biya International Cycling Tour.
Very much, Yoti Kale Lesonge. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are just tuning in, this is Press Hour and we are beaming live from CRTV Production Center here in Yaoundé. You're welcome to the debate. Now, we watch together the press review and so many issues came up. But there is one that does not leave anyone indifferent. This the Makaba killing in Guzang in the Northwest region. There were other killings, of course, around the country, not around the country, around the Southwest and Northwest regions, so to say. But we cannot go without condemning, without talking about this. Whatever the case, I'm taking it to Barrister Law first. Should anyone at any point take the law into their hands, such extrajudicial killings are just unbearable, unacceptable.
Yeah, I think, Killian, that is, there is no doubt that is an outrageous offense. What puzzles me is the impunity with which such offenses are committed on regular basis and being done in the presence of people.
Market Square.
At the Market Square. And without, I think that our forces of law and order, they are aware of such acts. And I keep on asking myself, what makes it difficult to identify the culprits of such outrageous acts? The impunity is getting, I think, out of hand, particularly when it has to do with the Anglophone crisis. It's a pity.
Big one, Steve.
Yeah, I think it's really a pity.
You call it in your newspaper bazooka for bazooka.
It becomes even more worrisome when you imagine that those who carried out the act gave as their reason that they suspected the two men of collaborating with government security forces. How did they come about it? Was it proven that the guys were actually collaborating with the security forces? For me, I think it was some kind of a score settling, because the guys tried to prove their innocence. They were not listening to them. And when you imagine that things like this happen on the watch of the public, with children, with mothers, with parents, watching how somebody is being killed, shot at, it shouldn't be acceptable. We shouldn't allow this to happen. It shouldn't continue.
Those were adults. They could have their own children watching. It
is so disheartening that the authorities know that these things are happening, but they cannot prevent it. It is so disheartening that the authorities, the security forces will allow people to infiltrate. Buzang is a big town, people to come right at the city center and take time, all their time. They had all their time to carry out this act. They bring the population to come and watch what they are going to do. They successfully do it and go scot-free. We ask ourselves if actually we have, if the security forces are there in this country.
We have security forces, of course, and I know in your newspaper we just followed the press review, and the media is saying the security forces have promised that they are going to use your words, bazooka for bazooka, that's fire for fire.
The problem is, each time, it is true, the security forces are working, but each time they only go after the boys after they have committed their atrocities.
You admit that they are working, yes. I wanted us to be clear on that point, and that they are there. Yeah,
but they should be more proactive.
Mr. Mbafo?
Yes, to cue from Barrister's point, that it's getting unbearable. I will not say it's gotten already. We have passed, we're way past the level where we ought to have, not just wait for security forces like the publisher is saying, but we need now real, I would say, an outcry from the population. We need to have that rage, that outcry, and that taking of responsibility at that local level to stamp out these guys from our societies. And then the security forces come in as a real support, as a real relay. And the work of the security forces now will be felt, will have an impact at the basis. But how could you imagine that a population will come out and witness this kind of thing? Yeah. And without any reaction from the population? It's scary.
Anyway, the caliber of the guns the guys were carrying to might have frightened the...
If there is a popular outcry, those guns will not wipe out all the population. I saw
that. Just to say that it is not in all communities. There are some communities who have succeeded to push those people out of their area, their area.
Emphasizing on the fact that we need populations to rise up and, in partnership with the military, push these guys out. They are in the minority. How come for 6-7 years they've succeeded to dictate the law on the land?
Can you attempt an answer to that, William Titi Itwe? Yes, for this length of time, these people are still operating with impunity.
Yes, they are operating with impunity because Barrister said, yeah, I mean, we can accept that there is a law in this country that punishes such actions that we can term as extrajudicial killings. But what happens when such gruesome acts are performed? We are told of investigations being carried out, and we never get results. And so the impunity is justified by the fact that the culprits, let's say, those who carry out those acts, end up not even being punished. Even when they are, I don't think it's enough to scare them from those attitudes. So you see, somewhere there is something that's not being done. We are not like, in strict implementation of, let's say, the law, of the constitution, social norms, cultural and traditional rules. It's unheard of that you would stand with a machete in the village square and cut the finger of another citizen or another brother of the village, and the village doesn't rain on you. The entire village will fall on you. Then now you do that, nobody will come and say anything, for fear that when there's cough, they'll come and
you will be the
that is it. A poor woman who fries her puff puff and sells is even afraid to wake up in the morning to sell, because you don't invite people to come and buy. You expose your puff puff, people come and buy. You don't know who buys. But if I come and sit there, eat my puff puff and go, a story goes behind and say that guy is a military. When he came and ate the puff puff, the boys will come and attack that woman. It's like the woman fed their enemy. If the guys to come and eat and they go, the others will come and attack the man, even burn the house. It's like the woman is the one who's frying and giving them. So it's so complicated.
Yes.
So it's the poor Cameroonian, the poor citizen, the grass. That's the grass that's suffering.
Yes.
So it's
unfortunate. So we are going to delve into our discussion for today, and we are going to start with you. We're not going to let you go. You will start with you, okay. Williams Itua, Titi Itua. CONAC, the National Anti-Corruption Commission, has been out. You are just back from Betua. I think you came back yesterday.
Yes,
from Betua. Yes. You carried out what you call the anti-corruption clinic.
Yes.
Let us know the essence of this anti-corruption clinic before we ask you whether you are not missing the point.
Okay. An anti-corruption clinic is an approach taken by CONAC under the leadership of the institution's chairman, Reverend Dr. Diodone Masigams, to bring the services of the National Anti-Corruption Commission closer to the people. You know, as at now, CONAC is based only in Yaoundé. We don't have regional offices. So when we organize an anti-corruption clinic, we transport, like you say, we relocate some of the main services, main organs, main divisions of the commission to the area where we are hosting, where we are holding the clinic. It means that for that period of time, CONAC will be operating within that region. And when CONAC operates, CONAC's mission is wide. CONAC's mission, like you said, CONAC's mission is to sensitize, which is part of prevention, is to educate, is to investigate, and is to report the investigations to the competent authorities to punish, because CONAC does not have the right to punish.
Our problem.
But which is not a problem of CONAC. It's a problem of the nature. Well, like I said the other time, when when a child is born and at birth the creator of the child decides to give the child just a tooth instead of 32 teeth, excuse me, is it the child's fault? No. If a child is born and you say this child will not work with both legs, let me just give him one leg, the other leg will just be a window dressing, it's not the child's fault.
So I like the examples you are giving. You are just telling the public that you are not equipped to do the work you are supposed to do, that you cannot carry out the missions.
We are equipped, but just that what the public expects
you don't have enough teeth to bite, when you don't have
what does that mean? Catch, weaken, then hand to who now has the right to chew the person, break the bones and swallow. So what I'm saying is we carry out our actions based on the missions assigned to the institution. We don't go beyond. You will not expect CONAC to, for instance, let me just give you an example. Like I said, anti-corruption clinic is a repressive action, even though there can be some sensation along the line. We have some cases now. Some people are behind bars. They are under detention, awaiting judgment. And what CONAC has done is to drop, because we worked in collaboration with the regional executive and the head of the judiciary in the region, which is the Procurator General and the president of the court of the high courts that were within the areas of the offense where the offenses were committed. Now, do you expect CONAC to go and preside over a case in court when CONAC does not have the right?
Well, we cannot ask CONAC to do that. What we are saying is we know corruption in this country by going to Betua when there are so many other things that are happening here at the macro level. Yes. Are you sure you are not going down for some minute things that you escape the big ones to go and...
That is not Killian. Going to Betua did not mean that the doors of CONAC were closed in Yaoundé. Did not mean that investigations that were ongoing in Yaoundé were stopped. It's not the entire staff of CONAC that went to Betua. Like I said, just an approach to bring the services of the institution closer to the people. And what happens within that kind of period is that you take out some of the elements that you have, you go down on the field and carry out some sort of immediate action. What does that mean? We mostly carry out what we call rapid intervention actions. It means that if, for instance, we were in Yaoundé and there is this case that was reported at the transport office in Betua. If we're in Yaoundé, I don't think we would have arrested that case like we did.
Very good. But that also means that based in Yaoundé, and when you are going for the clinic,
yes,
anti-corruption clinic, call it campaign of sensitization, you actually announce that you are coming. It's like you want to go and catch a game, like someone said in my area, when I met an animal, wild animal sleeping, and said, and called and said, please wake up, let me kill you. Let me not kill you while you are asleep. You will get up and say that it's because you were asleep that I killed you. And when the animal got up, it escaped. Is that not the type of thing that you're doing?
That's not the type of thing with the clinic. That is where I think there is a problem, a misunderstanding. When we carry out back to school campaign, when we carry out other activities that are strictly sensitization, we send out radio announcements, we write to the authorities on the field that CONAC will be coming, we inform so that we need a good number of people to mobilize, to sensitize. They will go for
but in that way,
we don't announce. We do not announce.
Okay.
We only inform when we arrive. That's even when some authorities know that we are there. Because CONAC does not have the power to protect itself. CONAC cannot act as a police. CONAC cannot act as a gendarme. If I'm going to the field to investigate a corruption case, I think the governor should know. I think I should go along. I mean, I should be accompanied by some gendarme. That's what the come back to you. So I think what CONAC does during the clinic is mostly repression. But like I said, there is some sort of sensitization along the line, because just telling somebody that 4 people were caught on Tuesday, the 3rd of October,
what type of
carrying out acts of corruption,
yes,
in a position where they were put by government, where they are supposed to serve the public, but they were extorting money. They were caught and put they are currently under bars. That is information that's gone, and it's going to sensitize others, and they will know. They don't have to do that.
Okay. You just keep your account. We're going to come back to you. From what you have said, I know the barrister at law must have noticed, like I also did and the other panelists did, that CONAC has so many lapses that the official from there, William Titi Itwo, said he gave examples that are actually sure that they have so many lapses they cannot go far.
Thank you, Killian. I think I will praise the efforts of William for his honesty, and he's actually said what it is, and I will want to dissect more so that the public should understand exactly where the problem lies. There's a common lat in the law that we say, nemo dat quod non habet. You can't give what you don't have. So you won't blame CONAC. I think that the guys are doing a laudable effort within the powers. left on them, bestowed on them. I will look at the law that creates CONAC. It's decree number 2006/088 of 11 March 2006. If you look at section 2, sub 2 of that decree, it tells you what are the missions of CONAC. And when you look at those missions, you will see that the main substance is not there. The missions of CONAC, with their permission, Killian, CONAC is out to collect, centralize, and exploit denunciations that the commission is seized of, follow up and evaluate the effective implementation of government policy on corruption, carry out all studies and the investigations, and make all proposals to prevent corruption, proceed to the effective fiscal control of the execution of projects as well as conditions of awarding contracts. I think this is one the section where they could actually use, but I doubt if you are willing. I doubt if you guys are actually using this particular provision. Yes, we'll get to that, because you have the powers. You have the powers to investigate the fiscal execution of those contracts, and more interestingly, the conditions of awarding the contracts. Which, and if I went through the text on the creation of CONAC, it gives CONAC the powers to ask for external expertise to carry out certain missions. So I think hanging on this alone, CONAC could do more. From this point of view, I think CONAC is a little reluctant here.
Like I said, at the clinic in Bertois, there are currently, from the results, because the results were communicated by the chairman to the press, there are 4 projects that, contracts, like the public contracts, which were noticed, irregularities in the execution. And presently, since such let's say the projects that require in-depth investigations, the clinic was in Bertois for 5 days. We could not do that for 5 days. So President CONAC is on it.
Yes, CRTV followed that closely. Let us watch, before I give you the floor, Stephen, let us watch in the news conference in Bertois, where the chairperson of CONAC came out and actually declared what their intention was and what they were doing, before I come back to you. Yes, let's watch what happened there.
The chairperson of the National Anti-Corruption Commission and his team at the 1-week anti-corruption clinic set up in the town of Bertois have since Monday been receiving denunciations of corruption acts from the population. In a press conference this Tuesday, Reverend Dr. Zodode Masigams encouraged them to come forward with their complaints to the commission.
If we are there, we are waiting for first denunciation coming from Cameroonians.
We are hereby calling on the population of the East region to use this opportunity that CONAC has created, because within this 1 week, acts of corruption will be effectively treated and conclusive decisions made on the different cases that will be tabled to the anti-corruption clinic.
The education, transport and finance sectors are hardest hit by corrupt practices in the region. CONAC calls for collective action to end this societal vice.
The fight against corruption, as I used to say, is not only the preoccupation of CONAC, it is the preoccupation of all citizens.
During the anti-corruption clinic's 1-week stay in Bertois, investigations and interventions will be made. The Commission has made a public appeal against repression, calling on the media and other stakeholders to join the fight against corruption.
Thank you, Bruno Ndongwi, for that report from Bertois. Stephen, you listened to the chairperson of CONAC and the communication and public relations official of CONAC, Irene Morikang, chair. When you listen to them, you also listen to the official who is here, William. What impression do you come with? That is more of sensitization, or that actually those things that they say anti-corruption clinic is paying off?
Yeah, before coming here, I had something in mind, and what I had in mind has just been confirmed by the staffer from CONAC, who admits that CONAC hasn't got the powers to act against corruption. Yeah, going about collecting denunciations is not enough. After collecting this denunciation, what happens next? What we know about CONAC is that they'll do all of this and then they'll put together a report and maybe in 1 or 2 years' time they forward it to a voluminous report and send to the head of state. And most often they have sent this report. We have never had a feedback. Killian, you can recall that there was a time in this country where we had no CONAC, but the parliament denounced the functioning of a sitting minister. And in less than no time, if I may call the name Munchipu, excuse me, in less than no time, action was taken and that minister was tried and sent to jail. We have had CONAC over the years. Every day they organize, like he says, clinics and whatever they want to call it. It's just to justify the use of their budget. Nothing comes out after that. We have not seen, you and I will see corruption happening in Cameroon over the place every time, every day. CONAC doesn't need to go to Betua to organize clinics. If you move around your own day, you see the structures coming up. CONAC can move to where these houses are built. Where do you get money to build this house? CONAC doesn't do that. They do public meetings, town hall meetings, grandstanding. All that doesn't serve the purpose for corruption. I think
CONAC does not need to come and tell you that they are going to do those things.
They send their report to the head of state, who appreciates and does what he's supposed to do, and most often nothing is done. What I'm trying to say is that I have a feeling that these structures are just facultative structures that are created when circumstances arise, just to blindfold the public that the government is doing something about some mishappenings in society, without any genuine intention to fight this. Corruption can be fought head on, but the structures that have been put in place to fight corruption are not actually fighting. Most of them don't even have executive power. They cannot punish corruption.
Now,
William, corruption.
Yes. I thought you were going to stop him.
I didn't. I allowed him speak because I saw him. I mean, when I listened to him, I saw somebody who is not aware of so many things as concerns the fight against corruption.
Yeah.
And I think when we talk of sensitization, that's when we should understand the importance of sensitizing. When he says CONAC does not act against corruption, it seems like action against corruption is limited only on punishment. When you look at the trend in the world, even the countries that have succeeded in rolling back corruption, you understand that one of the most salient action in combating corruption is prevention. So what I want to say is, like Norton Rose Fulbright, which is a global law firm, in one of their recent publications, because after Transparency International published The Most Corrupts, they now went in depth to see the strategies that those countries that have succeeded in fighting corruption they use, and they noticed that some major component elements in order of importance: prevention, education, prosecution.
Very good.
So you see that we are not acting prevention to them. It does not mean anything.
After winning trophies twice in this country, we should have gone beyond. We should have gone past the level of. We should have gone past the level of creating awareness.
Is guilty of corruption. There must have been thorough investigation. But unfortunately, investigations are not communicated upon. You are a press man. We don't talk much on investigations, so that's why you don't even hear much about it. But if you understand that the fight against corruption has to do with a lot of other aspects: prevention, education, conditions, incentive, and even cooperation, then you know that CONAC is working.
We should go past. We should get past the level of pedagogy. Cameroonians are sufficiently aware about corruption in their country.
Don't say that. No, that's what
we should get past that level.
Don't say
want
that.
To see action. Want to see genuine action being taken
to sensitize the public and then the people in their local languages. Do you know the feedback? You need to go down on the field and know, because you only sit in Yaoundé and imagine for Cameroonians that they are sufficiently aware. They are not. Maybe the surrounding proves that, but beyond the surrounding, you may not know.
You and I know that corruption. Cameroonians are sufficiently aware that there is corruption in their society. What we want to see is how this corruption is being uprooted.
Cameroonians should be aware that the fight against corruption, like the chairman said, the fight against corruption is not just an issue of CONAC. Barrister Adlol read the text. The CONAC was created to assist in the implementation of the National Anti-Corruption Strategy.
Thank you very much.
How many years after creation of CONAC? What impact
It's okay. We've understood at least. We've understood at that level. We have the official member of the commission, National Commission for the Promotion of Bilingualism and Multiculturalism, John Fesi Mbafo, who is also very knowledgeable and is working. You have also just finished a campaign of sensitization, gone around the whole country. Tell us exactly. We think that there's so much sensitization and very little action, whereas we were supposed to, after several years, after how many years now? I think should be 5 years from 2019, 2019 December. 24th of December 2019, when you were given the powers to
when the law was promulgated.
When the law was promulgated. By promulgating the law, it makes you active and to go into the field. So we think that you should have had more actions, more measures to show than sensitization.
First of all, the first thing I'd like to say is, like we always say, and like educationists say, the mother of pedagogy is repetition. And so we will keep repeating and talking and sensitizing until that time as when the mass critique is reached.
The majority
and well watered with the law and the provisions therein. Yes, the commission went down, had a 1 week mission around the national territory in the 10 regions. Teams were created and sent to the 10 regions on missions to monitor and assess the implementation of the national policy on the promotion of official languages in Cameroon. And this time, our missions took us to state universities, health facilities, and also training structures for the forces of law and order. And you will want to know that this is, we'll put it in context. We've been on this campaign since 2021. The law being promulgated in 2019. And it is something which is well planned and well thought out. We started with ministries, then we went to parastatals and structures receiving subventions from the state. Then we went to private institutions, and this time we're going to the regions, into state universities, health facilities, and structures that train our forces on order. So it's a program which we are carefully and diligently executing. I also want to let you know that we cannot, maybe I could ask a rhetorical question. Where is that statistical point which you reach and you can say, okay, we're done with sensitizing?
And I come in there immediately to tell you that the threshold, that point, that tipping point you are asking, is when we go out to the streets and then we don't hear hate speech, we hear people, we don't see documents come out in one language.
Yeah.
Because if you were to look at the documents that are made public, you know that 90% now in the country, I have not done any survey, but I know that where we work, we get official documents.
Yes.
90% of documents come out in one language before the other can follow, if at all it follows.
Kilian, these are social issues, and habits that have crystallized over the years take time to go, and new habits take time to be acquired. These are social issues. You cannot expect a knee-jerk effect on social issues, and that's why the whole importance of intensifying sensitization, so that these old habits are abandoned, are dropped, and new habits acquired, and new reflexes acquired. The reflex has been there for time, from time immemorial, where and it's not just French, where sometimes documents just come out in language where the official who's drafting the document feels more comfortable in. But these are habits, these are reflexes which we have to acquire, new reflexes which we have to acquire, and it will take the time it will take. The Commission is doing its part, which is that of monitoring, assessing, sensitizing, educating, and we are it. We will continue doing what we have to do.
The question holds endless education, sensitization. Do you have a timeline?
And the question also holds, when is that point which you will say we've done enough? I'll give an example. I led the mission to Garwa, and most places which we went to, we try to do just a very summary statistical survey on who even knows about the existence of the law. And we barely got to 50 or 60% of participants in the hall who even knew there was a law on official languages. So we still have a lot to do in terms of educating and sensitizing and informing Cameroonians on the existence of the law and the provisions therein. And until we get to that point where we can say, okay, we have 100%, well, we'll not expect 100% of Cameroonians to know the law, because how many percent of Cameroonians are educated in the first place? And but there's importance that we have, that begs for the continuous sensitization, the continuous mass sensitization and information on this new provision.
Does the Commission also take into consideration the fact that there are some people, when they are too hard to listen, when their ears are blocked, they have to be forced open, cracked down?
Yes.
But sometimes you need punishment as a means of sensitization.
Yes, the Commission is aware of that. The Commission, first of all, you have to note, and I said it last time I was on the panel here, the Commission is an advisory organ. We work within the limits of the text that creates the Commission. We are an advisory organ. That you should know that. Secondly, I'd like to say the Commission has within the limits of the law the tools it has and which it leverages to do its work, which is informing, which is assessing, which is advising, which is making reports to the powers that be. But also, and I'll still at the risk of repeating myself, the question I keep asking myself: when is that point where you will say, okay, we've sensitized enough, and we have now to only repress? And I think those who are competent for repression are there. We have the lawyers, we have the state councils, who should do their work. It's an ensemble. It's a set of different actors who have to bring our country to where it ought to be in terms of applying or aligning to this law.
Is the Commission is supposed to pick defaulters, offenders of the law to the lawyers? Is the Commission doing that?
The Commission receives complaints. And when it receives complaints, it addresses those complaints to the head of state. Not just to the head of state, to those who are concerned.
It submits its report to the head of state.
Of course,
let's be clear about that. It submits its report to the head of state.
Yes, we have our reports which we hand to the head of state under whose behest we work, which you have to know. But also, in cases where we can directly address certain issues directly to the concerned parties, we do so.
Okay, Barrister, when he makes mention of things like the law, the limits of their powers, I can always refer to you. Yes, tell us exactly.
Yes, Killian, I think that when I look at the law that created the Bilingualism Commission, it's even worse than the law on CONAC, because their powers are far less. There is no provision in that law that even gives that commission, the Bilingualism Commission, to investigate issues of non-implementation of the bilingualism policy of the government. There is no law that gives them power to investigate issues of hate speech. You will agree.
Before you continue, that law of 2019, 24 December 2019, one section 5 says the purpose is to ensure the equal use of English and French in public services and bodies. They can go to those places and then make sure that it happens. If it doesn't happen,
that's why we're on the field.
What I'm trying to say, I looked at the law that created the Bilingualism Commission, the law number 2019/019 of December 24, 2019. Effectively, Article 5 is to effect that the Commission ensures the equal use of English and French. But now, what do they mean by ensuring? They take. If you go down to section 14 of the law creating that commission, it states that each public entity shall have an internal structure in charge of translation. It is not the commission that appoints persons at those the translation unit of those entities. It just verifies if each entity has a translation commission. You go further to other provisions of the law, is to effect that section 18 of the law provides that signs, posts, logos, placards should be written in French and English. Coming down to section 21, road signs throughout the national territory shall both be in English and French according to international standards. That is what is provided for in the law that created that commission. But if you go to Carrefour Source, there is a sign board there where it is written direction Centreville in French and English town center. That has been there for years. It is there. So now, in commission. What does the commission do to sanction? Because it is a public entity that did that translation. The person who did that poor translation, it is said here that the translation must be done according to international standards. So now, what can the commission do to that person who did this poor translation? The law creating the commission does not give them the powers to do that. They can only sensitize. They can only advise those whether this translation here is poor. Can you take measures to remove it? If they don't remove, what would the poor commission do? The commission has no power to take any action. That is the problem.
So that's an accusation. Can you address this? And then by extension, you handle other things because it is the commission is in charge of bilingualism and multiculturalism. Mm-hmm. We still get open demonstration, open expression of hate speech, and we wait for the commission to say, okay, this must stop. This person must be held accountable. We see the same people going around. Mm-hmm. So, in answer to that, and by extension, what can the commission do?
I think Barrister in his expose gave the answer to the question,
which is
the commission has defined tasks and has defined powers placed on it, and we work within the ambits of those powers and those tasks given to us. Section 27 of the law, to buttress the point he made, the state shall ensure the monitoring and evaluation. I want us to build on those two terms, monitoring and evaluation of the national policy on the promotion of Ishila languages through an advisory body set up by a separate instrument.
Okay.
And that advisory body, in this case, is the National Commission. And we are doing our work of monitoring and evaluation. I think we should be just on if we are doing that properly, and then we could answer you, we could judge you on that, but don't expect us to take on tasks which are not ours to take, which is repression. There's nothing mentioned that the commission will have a repressive attribute.
Very good, and we are settled on that.
Yes.
The National Anti-Corruption Commission also has agreed that their powers are limited. You are officials from there. No, even your chairpersons accept that.
I want to
your
say the powers are limited. The powers are defined. Semantics is very important.
Yes.
The powers are defined, not limited.
I will ask you, I'm building up a question. Yes. They are defined not to handle things to the extent that they actually create the impact, immediate impact needed. Yeah. Defined, I think this one we agree. But the point is, knowing all of this, your powers are defined and make you not to go to the full length of what you would have done.
We go to the full length. Is it not the definition of the powers given to us?
Full length of your missions, not full length. You have someone who is sick, like you were talking about the clinic. Your treatment, the person needs more treatment. Your treatment does not cure that person. Gets the person to a certain level, and you say, okay, you are a patient, I can't do anything to you. That is where my question is.
Okay.
Have you this is to the two institutions. Can you not sit down, write, reformulate, and tell your creator, like someone said earlier in this program, that you didn't create me well to be able to handle my missions well?
Certain objectives.
Yes. The question goes to both of you.
Yes, let me come in here. Yeah, I will still come back to highlight on the concept, let me say the idea of fighting against corruption and the creation of CONAC. And like I said, the decree creating CONAC, there is no law yet. CONAC is functioning based on the presidential decree. Maybe when we get to a law, we'll have more powers and more other provisions. The decree says the National Anti-Corruption Commission assist in the implementation of the National Anti-Corruption Strategy. Which means that there is this strategy and there are many other actors.
No, you are making my question stand taller. This is what I'm saying. You're making my question stand taller.
We don't take a patient and then allow him that. Okay, you continuous. That's where it continues.
You sit down.
Yes.
Create a think tank and then you sit down and write and say we can carry out our functions well because we need more powers, and then you send it up.
Of course, we have done that. We have had meetings with the National Assembly. We have been having consultations with the diplomatic community. Yeah. We are under the Presidency of the Republic. We write directly to the head of state. CONAC is under the Presidency.
If the President has not yet responded, you should increase the number of times you write. Yes, you answer the same question.
Let's answer the same question. To use your analogy. In a hospital, you have different services.
Yes.
When you get to a hospital, you are first received by generalist,
yes,
who diagnoses you and consults you and diagnoses your problem,
yeah,
and then sends you to a specialist.
Yeah.
It's simple. It's an ensemble.
Yeah.
We are like those generalists.
Yes.
We receive the case, we diagnose the case, and then we send it to the specialist who would treat that case.
It's only if you're allowed to send to the specialist directly. No, not send it to your tutelar authority for him to decide whether to send or not.
But the person who created the commission knows how he wants how it to function.
That is exactly the point we will make. Yes, Stephen.
Yeah, I think we have to agree on certain things here. CONAC was created after Cameroon won 2 World Cups as the leading nation in corruption in the world. The Bilingualism Commission was created after Anglophones rose up to express their frustrations with the way things were going on in Cameroon. The president made a speech and said he was going to create a structure that would help him to solve the grievances of the Anglophones. Maybe I should say here that I interviewed a member of the anti-corruption of the Bilingualism Commission. He's still a member of that commission, who said this, that the Bilingualism Commission is an empty shell with a big name. He said it is condescending. Let me count.
The views of that member, commit that member alone, not the commission.
I'm coming.
I expected that.
It is condescending and insulting for the head of state to tell Cameroonians that he was going to create a structure to help him solve the Anglophone problem, but ends up creating a structure that has just merely consultative powers.
No, you have to answer to that.
I will.
Yes.
I have not landed. What I want to say, I have not landed, brother.
Yeah.
The commission has, again, like I said, it has a cahier de charge. Yes, the commission was created on the heels of the Anglophone crisis, and the president said he was going to help him solve the crisis. And in solving that crisis, many things have to be tackled. One of the issues of the crisis was the language problem, the language imbalance.
Exactly.
And to do with the law.
Yeah.
Are we not solving the problem? The head of state to solve the problem?
No.
We do. We are.
Has the commission ever...
No, you are not asking him the question.
Has the commission...
You are not asking... I ask question. You are not the one to ask a question. No, you are not the one asking questions.
Excuse me.
No, your contribution, don't ask him questions.
Okay, let me come in.
Yes.
Again.
Yeah.
I think that I will look at 2 things. I'll go back to the Anti-Corruption Commission. We should agree that these structures are created to respond to a particular problem. We don't expect them to miraculously bring a solution, but we should see some progress. We should see some progress moving towards a solution. I think that what I probably I see some lapses in the activities of CONAC. I'm working within the ambit of the law that created that commission. I think that certain aspects that if they hammer on within the ambit of their law, they are going to create an impact. I take 2 simple examples. If you look at section 2, sub 2 of the law on CONAC, the decree on CONAC, because the Bilingualism Commission is a law and CONAC is a decree. Yes. The hierarchy is now. It gives the CONAC the powers to proceed to the fiscal control of execution of projects as well as the conditions of awarding contracts. If CONAC concentrates only on this,
yes, they will
go and investigate. Then it comes down. The interesting part of it comes down to, if you go to section 24 of this law, it states that CONAC writes its reports addressed to the head of state that created it. Secondly, section sub 4 of section 24 says, sub 3 says CONAC does annual report on the state of corruption in Cameroon, and the interesting part where I'm hammering on is subsection 4 of this law, which says that those reports are made public for the public to consume. So what I'm saying is that take just a sector of public contracts, take one simple contract, take even the Olembe Stadium, do solicit expertise, engineers, auditors, you carry out an execution and investigation on the fiscal execution of that contract. You carry out investigation on the conditions of the award of that contract. You put it on your annual report, which you address the head of state, and make it public.
Yeah.
In 2018,
he's interpreting the law.
In 2018, CONAC carried out an investigation on that because you mentioned the Olembe Stadium.
Yes.
And did a report after that investigation,
Yeah.
like you read, that we hand to the head of state.
Yes.
It's no more. It wasn't more at the level of CONAC, but CONAC carried out an in-depth inquiry in that contract and submitted the report.
And
That's what I have to
publish
say.
it.
No, we don't. When we submit our report,
Subsection 4
He's
says you
saying-
publish.
he's saying the law-
Subsection 4 says you publish.
we publish our
Make
annual
it
reports.
public to the public.
we make public our annual reports. When this is how it functions, we write to the head of state.
Yes.
And since we are under the like I said, we work under the President of the Republic, and head of state is the supreme
Authority. Yes.
We write and we give. Now, listen,
Subsection 4 of Section 24.
If-
that the reports are published to the public, published by you, not the head of state.
on the 10th of November 2022,
Yes.
we published the annual report for 2021.
Yes.
By the end of this year, we published a report for 2022.
Yeah.
So I just want to understand that we publish our reports.
Yeah.
But now, based on particular investigations,
Yes.
or like you mentioned, public contracts.
Yes.
We do a lot of investigations in public contracts. So also remember that
Yes.
the Public Contracts Regulatory Board
Yes.
was also created to do that.
Yeah.
Now, CONAC being the central organ for the fight against corruption,
Yeah.
what CONAC does, first of all, when we receive a denunciation on public contracts, we refer to the Public Contracts Regulatory Board, because they may still be, maybe they may be on that on the beat. We need to know if they are further denunciation and what they are doing. If not, just because we don't go in the kind of dispersal manner, we now give orientations, and we create, for the chairman of CONAC assigns a team of investigators who work in collaboration with the Public Contracts Regulatory Agents, Regulatory
I don't
Board,
think we came here
the
to
Ministry
know how
of
this
Public
structure
Contracts.
functions.
Publishing the report, publishing the report does not mean that at the end of each investigation,
you come here
the annual
to be-
report,
to be-
the annual report, you read the come for the. I think barristers should know.
Yes,
When you see the number of contracts that CONAC has investigated and the reports, the findings, the conclusions of those investigations.
Thank you.
Then the document from the annual report.
Since we don't
will
have
be
much
publishing
time to
reports in
go,
every document. I mean,
since
small booklet.
our time is almost up, we are going to get the conclusive statement from Stephen Ojo and then go around.
Killian, I may just say that bilingualism is mentioned, the bilingual nature of Cameroon is mentioned in the constitution of this country. Even corruption we are talking about is also mentioned. What stops the Anti-Corruption Commission to tell the president that if he could apply or implement Article 66 of the Constitution, it may change the face of corruption?
That's declaration of assets
Yes.
before public office and after public office. Thank you.
Do you think, excuse me, do you think the president needs
when you-
let me
when-
come, yes.
when you look at
do
the
you
time,
think
you
the
know.
president needs to create a commission for bilingualism to be implemented? It just takes the president to stamp his hand on the table and pronounces that from now henceforth, any authority that does not apply bilingualism in the structure he heads,
Yes.
will go down for it, and you see bilingualism will be applied.
Thank you for that contribution. I think it's very useful. Yes, since you are talking, yes, go ahead.
Following that precedent, it means the head of state doesn't need any other structure anyway, in any case to rule the nation.
In the case where, in the case where the results, in the case where the public, no, it's
the
okay.
presidential
It's okay. We
decree
don't
comes
have.
beneath the constitution, the hierarchy of norms.
Exactly.
If something is mentioned in the constitution, you don't need a presidential decree to
Then let's the laws then, and then just put the constitution.
That would be our last point. The point he is making is that the public needs to see more results.
I think
yes, you already had a
In conclusion, I think what we should be asking ourselves is what is the solution? I think the CONAC, for example, let the law on CONAC be revised in such a way that CONAC should have their own judicial police officers.
Yeah.
They should have their own examining magistrate. They should be able to investigate corruptions and then charge the people and ensure that people are prosecuted. They don't need to carry investigation
And that's
send
done in other countries.
Yeah, that is exactly why I was asking the question.
Yes.
Why can you not? Why can't you? Okay.
Can Konak write to the head of state and say, so do you think
Good.
Konak is not
Good.
William,
thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
To purchase that for
Gentlemen, thank you very much. Our time is up. I must not shout. William, please, I must not shout. Our time is up. Our time is up. There's a program this Downtown Weekend that's coming immediately after this program. Stephen, our time is up, please, gentlemen. There's a program that is live also coming immediately after us. We have consumed our time. I want to thank you very much, William Titi Itwo, who's an official from the National Anti-Corruption Commission. Thank you very much, John Fesi Mbafo, who is a member of the National Commission for the Promotion of Bilingualism and Multiculturalism in Cameroon. Thank you very much, Stephen Ojong, who is the publisher of the media newspaper. Thank you, Barrister Fumbat Mujem. Thank you very much for your contributions. I hope that what you said here has helped someone out there, and there's going to be a change. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you for your time. Thank you for watching. If you miss out on anything on this program, please, there will be a podcast on Monday at 2:30. Have a good day ahead.